What is good, guys? It is Spirit of Paradox here, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be giving you my review for I should say Deadpool and Wolverine. My apologies there, folks. And I'm going to be breaking this into two sections. I've got the non-spoiler section and I've got the spoiler section. Do not worry, I will give you my rating by the ending of the non-spoiler section like normal, and we will discuss the spoilers afterwards, and it is also timestamped in the comments below. I absolutely loved this movie. All the way through I was cheering, laughing, and honestly feeling like a little kid again, seeing my favourite superheroes on screen. When it comes down to the relationship between Deadpool and Wolverine in this story, it is absolutely fantastic. You see how these two polar opposites in personalities going against each other and then having to work together to basically get what they need to get done. And along the way we get to see some really cool cameos, and I mean, when some of these cameos popped up on screen, people, I and my whole cinema cheered when we saw some of these cameos. I mean, some of these cameos I wasn't even expecting, and I was just so happy. And then there were some cameos that I really wanted, and I actually got more than what I wanted with those. But we'll talk about that in detail in the spoiler section. One thing I also would like to say is the villains of this story. Even though I would say one of them is pretty, your British twirling mustache kind of villain, but I really did enjoy that villain in this story. Even though this character did not have any superpowers, but there is actually another villain in this who does. But this one, I would say, really did enjoy that character on screen. Mr. Paradox is what his name is in the movie, believe it or not. He sounded like Piers Morgan. Don't know if anybody noticed that, but to me, he sounded like Piers Morgan. I would know, I'm British. I know how the British accent sounds, but yeah, sounded like Piers Morgan to me, but really enjoyed that. So, some things that I didn't like about the movie, nothing too serious, but it was there. Some of the jokes for me didn't really land. No, there wasn't very often. And I did feel like some of the jokes were played out for a little too long. Especially in the intro, which was very funny, don't get it twisted. We was all laughing in the intro of the movie. But it got to the point where it's like, alright, this is dragging on now. Nobody's laughing anymore. But something like that, for example. And then another thing, also very small issue I had was some of the CG in certain shots did look a bit uncanny valley. We all know that Wolverine is going to be, or did wear his blue and yellow suit in this movie, and we did get to see him wear the mask. There was some point when he was wearing it, the CG was a little bit off. Like, it just was a bit off. And then there was one scene where Deadpool and Wolverine are jumping out of the back of a bus, right? And it's slow-mos when they're jumping out. But the thing is, when I was watching this scene, it looked like they were made out of CG, like they were completely created in CG for that shot. I mean, it would make sense because of the slow-mo and all the glass flying everywhere. But yeah, I think that shot, which was supposed to be cool for the most part, I just noticed it was CG in a bit uncanny valley. But other than that, I would say I really enjoyed this film. The story is really great, really funny. I would say as well, when it comes down to the big three Deadpool films, the trilogy, this is definitely going to be my main favorite one in the trilogy. For me, when it comes down to the other two Deadpool movies, I can't watch them like consistently, like on a regular basis, because the jokes stop being funny eventually. I do feel we are gonna have that after watching Deadpool and Wolverine after repeat viewings. I do feel it's gonna be a lot more tolerable in this movie because of one, we've got a much exciting story. We've got Wolverine in here with lots of characters from the Fox verse and from the Marvel universe in general. And yeah, I would really say really enjoyed this movie. So out of 5 stars, I am going to give this a 4 out of 5. Really enjoyed this film. Go watch it with your friends because that's what I did. Seen the movie twice now, and I think this is my favorite movie of the year so far. It was Godzilla X Kong New Empire, but I think it's going to be this because of just how much love and heart was put into this film. To the fans, to the source material, and all of that. Really great film, and I really do recommend it, guys. So, now I have given my 4 out of 5 star for my non-spoiler review section of the review. I understand if you guys are going to go watch it. I hope you guys come back and return for the video so we could discuss it, the spoilers. And so now here's your time to leave. We're about to talk about spoilers. Time to go. Time to go. You've been warned. Okay, we're going to talk about spoilers now. So now we are going to talk about spoilers. I'm not going to go through everything in the movie. I'm just going to go through the parts that mattered the most to me for the most part. So the movie begins with Deadpool digging up Wolverine's corpse from Logan, and he finds out that he is dead. In this scene, this is where the TVA basically pull up on him, and not Wolverine, sorry, Deadpool uses Wolverine's skeleton as a weapon to dispose of the TVA soldiers. So he used his rib cage, he used his neck with like his spine with his neck, with his head still attached, and used it as a mace. He used his claws, he used his legs, he used different kinds of bones that Wolverine had in his skeleton. Honestly, I was just wondering, like, how is he managing that? How did he manage to break off that rib? Because that was the first piece he broke off, and I was just sitting there like, isn't that supposed to be indestructible? How did Deadpool manage to break off a rib in the beginning of the film? It was a really good fight scene, and it was quite funny, but I do think like it was played out for a little too long, and it stopped being funny like a good like 70% into it. It's like, the joke's not funny now, can we move on? It did get there a little bit, but overall that intro scene was very funny. So this movie is basically about like Deadpool's universe is dying because Logan had passed away. In Deadpool's universe, Wolverine is a anchor being, a being that keeps their reality or their universe stable. And when an anchor being dies in its universe, the universe slowly starts to die. But one of the villains, called Mr. Paradox, who basically wants to speed this process up with a time ripper. And Deadpool basically goes on a quest to be like, yo, so how this works is the TVA pull up on Deadpool and tell him like, yo, you can go to the sacred timeline. You can go to Earth wannabe 616 in the MCU. But your old universe is going to get destroyed because Wolverine, your anchor point, is dead. Deadpool basically takes this guy's teleporting device and goes on a quest and basically goes to find the perfect Wolverine. And here we go through a montage of different Wolverines from different universes. So we got to see a short, comic accurate Hugh Jackman Logan. So he was short in one scene. Another scene we got to see Hugh Jackman be Patch Wolverine. I remember loads of people on the internet were theorizing if that was going to be Daniel Radcliffe. No, he is not in the movie in any way, shape or form. It was Hugh Jackman. Then another Wolverine we got to see was Old Man Logan, and we saw the yellow and brown suit Wolverine, played by Hugh Jackman, in the middle of a battle with Mark Ruffalo's Hulk. Um, that was pretty cool. I did want to see more of that though, but it was just a brief moment. You didn't actually get to see any punches or claws swinging. You just basically got to see the implication of what's going down. That Wolverine's fighting the Hulk and Deadpool's just got in the way and made a really crude comment that was quite similar to Loki's when he spoke to Hulk in Avengers, and we all know how that one went. Then another Wolverine we got to see, and I'm not too sure where this story comes from. I remember seeing an image about this years ago, and I mean a very, very long time ago. And that was the one where Wolverine is crucified on a X, and he's got loads of red bloodied skulls like laying around him. Can anybody explain that to me? I remember hearing something about that. I just don't remember where it was from. So I have no real evidence or any real recollection on what this was. So please let me know. And then, after that, we got to see another Wolverine, or should I say Weapon X, from the Age of Apocalypse universe. For those who do not know, that is my second favorite Wolverine in recent times because I had read Age of Apocalypse. I really dig the design and the concept of that Wolverine, and to see Hugh Jackman play as him, it's really cool. Marvel Legends, can we get an action figure of that Wolverine, please? Thank you. Well, the Hugh Jackman version. I've got the comic book version. But yeah, really did enjoy that. Then we got to see the one that I've been asking for this since like 2016 or 17. It was either these two choices for a new Wolverine. Either Tom Hardy or Henry Cavill. And in this film, we got to see a brief cameo with Henry Cavill being Wolverine, wearing the jeans, the tank top, working on his motorcycle. He had the haircut, he had the beard, he had the cigar. And like we saw like Deadpool teleport to his universe, and he was like, the Cavalrine. And how like they were treating better than the people downstairs, right? And then Henry Cavill's Wolverine is like, you were just leaving. And Deadpool said something else, right? And then Henry Cavill did the famous arm reload. We got the claws out and did the arm reload and just boxed not Wolverine, he boxed Deadpool with the claws into like into a wall, and he just goes flying. So it seems like Henry Cavill's Wolverine has super strength as well. But then again, so does Age of Apocalypse Wolverine, but they don't really talk about that. So yeah, that's the cameos we saw for Wolverine. And throughout the movie, we get to see loads of cameos. Like, we got to see Chris Evans return as Human Torch in this film, which was really great. Didn't like the way he went out, though. Really didn't like that. Because I grew up watching Chris Evans be the Human Torch in those old Fantastic Four films. Even though they weren't all that, I grew up watching them. I bought the toys. Like, I had a couple of that. Like, The Thing. I had to, like... Oh, I had one of each character. But I remember I had the Human Torch, right, that came with this rotating gun. And you would plug the figure onto it and he would spin around on the gun. Did anybody have that figure from that Fantastic Four toy line? Because I really liked that one. But yeah, so we got to see him. No rest of the Fantastic Four though. We got to see Sabretooth from X-Men 1 again. He didn't last very long. He was only on screen for at max a minute. At like a max 1 minute on screen. And then we got to see Pyro from X-Men 2 and 3. We got to see like other characters from the other X-Men films from the Foxverse.
even though we did get some recasts for the characters, but overall we got to see the Fox versions of these characters, like Azazel from First Class. Juggernaut was recast, but it was the design from the Fox movie from X-Men Last Stand. We got to see Lady Deathstrike. I think, did we get to see Psylocke? I think we saw Psylocke in there. Or it could have been Gambit. Yes, people, we also got to see Gambit. But before I get to him, the second main villain of this movie is Cassandra Nova, and that is basically Charles Xavier's dead twin sister. They basically fought in the womb, and Charles ended up winning. And then later down the line, she would come back make herself a human body and cause Charles problems. But anyway, she got sent to the void, and she's basically ruling it with an iron thumb. Everybody's scared of her and works for her, or they basically live out in the wildlands by themselves. So, yeah, she killed Johnny Storm, and it wasn't very nice, in my opinion, but it was his own fault. Anyway, um, what else did we see? So yeah, we saw other characters pop up. We got to see Channing Tatum be Gambit in this movie. So I've actually known about that movie and its development hell. I even know about the Doctor Doom movie we were supposed to get from Fox, but that just never came through. So Channing Tatum's supposed to be like Gambit in X-Men Origins Wolverine, but I heard something about him being in G.I. Joe happened, so they recast him. And then I remember hearing like a Gambit movie was supposed to happen afterwards, around like 2014 to about 2016, and it just never came through. I heard Doctor Sinister or Mr. Sinister was supposed to be the bad guy for that. Never came through. But we got to see him in this. The accent was off. I didn't really like the accent, but overall, I liked him on screen. Like I do like Channing Tatum in his movies, man. Like I've watched a good few of his films, and yeah, it was good to see him. But I do think he needs to work on that accent if he does ever return. Then we got to see Elektra from the Daredevil movie and the Elektra movie from the early 2000s. Again, I watched those as a kid. I had Daredevil on VHS tape. Do any of you lot know about VHS? Because I've actually still got a few at home here. I've got a few VHS tapes. So, do anybody know about that? Yeah, so I had that movie a very long time ago, and it was very good to see I don't know her name, my apologies, but Elektra from the Daredevil movie with the Black Kingpin, and RIP to him as well. Like, yeah, it was good to see her. Then I think the most hyped cameo in the entire room when I was watching the film, the whole crowd went nuts, and that was when we got to see the return of Wesley Snipes' Blade. And honestly, when I saw that, everybody in the crowd went absolutely nuts. I grew up watching Blade as well. All three of them absolutely loved them, even though Trinity is not well liked by the community. I love Trinity as well. But for me, to see Wesley Snipes return as Blade again, it was really good. But that makes me wonder, because there were some shots at Mashar Ali, because I remember in the movie, like, Blade saying there's only been one Blade, and there's only gonna be one Blade. And then we saw Deadpool look into the camera like, ooh, you heard what he said? But you know, Deadpool gave the camera that look. We all know what look we're talking about, but yeah, so I guess there were shots at that because like it's been in development hell as well. I'm pretty sure Marvel and Michelle Ali like confirmed the Blade movie back in 2019. It's 2024. It's been 5 years, and I don't think they showed anything about Blade at San Diego Comic Con at 2024. Don't think they showed anything about that. So I don't think this movie is ever gonna get made, unfortunately. I don't understand why, because Blade is a very simple character to make or to make movies for. Like honestly, all they have to do is literally just make The Raid. If anybody has seen The Raid 1 and 2, love those movies. But can you imagine The Raid 1 with Blade or The Raid 1 with Punisher? I'd pay to go see that. Like, absolutely. Very simple concept. Bad guys are in a block. The main bad guy's at the top. The good guy's got to fight his way up. Simple as. But, nope. I don't know what Marvel can't seem to get right with Blade, but he's just very simple to get. Honestly, I would just say bring back Wesley Snipes and do something like Old Man Blade, I guess. If that's. Is that a thing? I don't think that's a thing. But if not, make that a thing if you can't get this movie right. But yeah, so seeing him return again, that was very cool. And then later in the movie, we did get to see the Deadpool core. No, there was no Ultimate Deadpool or Ultimate Wolverine in this movie. So if you was expecting that, nope. No, there's no Josh Brolin as Cable either in this movie. Don't know why when he was very integral to Deadpool 2. So no, he weren't in this film. But overall the film was still pretty fantastic despite not having him in the movie. I would definitely say though this isn't the savior of the MCU like we see fanboys trying to say with every project that comes out for the MCU, and it just doesn't seem to work. Yeah, Deadpool 3 seems like it's gonna be making a billion at the box office, but let's get this clear. Deadpool is not your traditional MCU character, and they cannot make everything like in the MCU like Deadpool. That's just not gonna work. Deadpool's a very unique and distinct character, but people have been waiting for another Deadpool movie since Deadpool 2, and people have been waiting to see Deadpool and Wolverine on screen since X-Men Origins Wolverine. So, you know, I I absolutely loved this film. We did get a happy ending at the end. Like we did get to see this Logan for this movie basically, you know, move to Deadpool's universe. These two had a very good, like, crude relationship. There was always arguing, fighting, but both of these two would come together and work together. That's what makes the movie so great. It's the relationship between Deadpool and Wolverine. And I honestly got to say, they did it with flying colors. So, yes, that is a 4 out of 5 stars from me. Absolutely loved this film. I didn't go through everything, I just went through as much as I could. Let me see. Oh, the one thing I didn't like about that CGI shot I was talking about. When Wolverine and Deadpool are about to fight the Deadpool Corps and Wolverine's put his mask on, I would say some of the CGI for the eye work was a bit wonky. It was very uncanny valley in some angles. And when they got onto the bus, right, when they were fighting their way onto the bus, they jumped out the back, and it was basically a slow-mo shot. This slow-mo shot was very off, because they basically jumped out the back of the bus, there's loads of glass flying, and they've slow-moed, but Deadpool and Wolverine are CGI'd, like completely CGI, and it does look a bit uncanny valley for that shot. It was very noticeable because it was in slow-mo. But other than that, yeah, for the most part, it was really good. Some of the jokes could be a bit not for everybody. Keep that in mind. Like, I know humor is very subjective in this day and age, so I know the Deadpool jokes aren't for everyone, but for the most part, I say you are gonna be in this film and you're gonna enjoy it. Like 80, probably like 85% of the time, you're gonna enjoy this. So, that is all I've really got to say for this video, folks. I absolutely enjoyed this film. I loved it. It is definitely my favorite Deadpool in the trilogy because of what we got in there. Just the relationship between Wolverine and Deadpool is the selling point, and they did it with flying colors. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below about this movie. Did you watch it? Are you going to watch it? Did you like it? Did you not? What did you like? What didn't you like? You know what to do in the comments below. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.